forgotten where you started. It's the kind of wisdom that used to be stitched into samplers and passed down at kitchen tables, but somewhere along the way, we stopped saying it out loud. This year, as you know, America turns 250, quarter millennium since a handful of colonists decided that freedom was worth every risk, the risk of everything. That's not just a number on a calendar, it's a weight, it's a responsibility, it's a question posed to every generation that inherits it. And the question is, will you remember? Recently, Freedom Moves You was unveiled, a new initiative across the country, a nationwide initiative inviting people where they are in motion by placing patriotic, civic-minded, civic-focused graphics in airports, baseball stadiums, train stations, and the like. Among the slogans that travelers will see are, for your next family vacation, remember the Alamo. And it's morning again in America, again, and numerous others. Those behind this campaign understand something critics have forgotten. A nation that stops telling its own story eventually stops being a nation at all. This initiative is about a conversation a grandfather might have with his grandson at the airport waiting for a flight. It's about a young family pulling off the highway toward the Alamo because a sign reminded them that it mattered. That's how heritage survives, not through mandates, but through moments. We're all in transit, one way or another. The least we can do is remember where the journey began and why it was worth taking in the first place. Soon after the nation's first steps, a flag was designed to represent those founding ideals. Let's now rise and pledge our allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. God bless America.
Thank you. Those introductory comments, by the way, came not from me, but I borrowed them, condensed them from the March 10th, the Daily Wire. I am Ron Zahn, on the leadership team of Northeast Wisconsin Patriots. We've been around for 17 years promoting liberty, freedom, founding principles as best we can here in Northeast Wisconsin. And others on the leadership team, if they would all stand up, you can figure out which is which. There is police leadership team, Diane Maes, Linda Seeker, Rochelle Dane, and Deb Wilson.
There you go.
To all the new faces that are here, we're thrilled, happy, welcome. And whether your new face is one up here who gets to answer questions tonight, or whether the new face is out here asking the questions, we hope you'll sign up to get our regular emails announcing upcoming programming. And there's a little sign-up sheet right back there on the clipboard. All we need is your name and your email, hopefully a phone number in legible writing. If you went to school recently, that might be a struggle. But we trust most of you can do that, and you will be on our email list. The restrooms, I will save some time because we're really pressed with so many candidates. We've never had a forum with 9 candidates. It takes some doing to make that happen within a time frame. So I will save time by not telling you that to get to the restrooms, you go through both of the 2 dining halls that way and then to your right. And they're very beautiful restrooms. They're worth going to. The tables back there are loaded with free stuff, either from New Patriots or JBS has a bunch out there. Heartland has some things out there. All good, free stuff pick up more than you want for yourself and share those things with others, please.
Ron,
Yes,
I put all the candidates, their
literature?
literature on the right-hand side over there.
Okay, so if you want to know more about contact information and such about any candidates, toward the right end of the L-shaped table. And did anybody bring yard signs?
Yes.
A few did, and are they also readily
Where
visible?
are they?
I know we have bizarre ones
Okay,
here that
if you-
someone brought.
Mine are in my car.
Well,
So,
then ask-
contact the candidate if you want a yard sign right there. And they'll probably fall to the floor.
Probably.
Nope, some rain
You
on
try
the
it.
leg.
Let's put them over by the
I'll
door.
trust you, Linda.
You betcha, they'll be sharp.
He must have been sitting on those because I didn't see them.
Do you, anybody else have someone put that in?
Mine are in my car, so.
Okay.
That's right. You got it.
Usually at this point, we invite any other candidates for office for the spring election, not yet the fall. The spring nonpartisan on April 7th. We usually give them 2 minutes to introduce themselves, but because of the press of time tonight, we're gonna limit it to 1. It'll be very difficult, but anybody here who's running anything from dog catcher up to county supervisor, they'll get to talk plenty. Anybody else that wants to just stand up and say who you are, what you're running for? If not, thank you. At this point, because we've applied numerous times for government aid to run our organization, and of course, we've gotten not a penny. So we passed the hat, and that is our chief means, or now one of our 2 chief means of securing funding so that we can operate. We have a double booth at the fair. We give away hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of stuff, whoever's got the hats. And we also are in one of the area Memorial Day parades in which we hand out hundreds and hundreds of free constitutions and other things. So we do appreciate whatever support you can give. Now, while the hat's being passed, I don't want you to be bored. So I'm going to share a little recent news with you. The reports are that Iran had plans, that's been certified, I think, by the Director of National Intelligence, had plans to bring ships and international waters off the coast of California and destroy the place. And then they found out that Governor Newsom already destroyed it, so they changed the plans. And furthermore, a high school civics teacher from the area assigned his students to still, if they could find a veteran of World War II, and interview them while they still had the opportunity. And one student knew that his great-grandfather had been in the war, so right away latched onto him, and after initial questions said, well, Grandpa, did you ever kill anybody? And that was the first time Grandpa just hesitated, became silent, didn't say much. He said, well, I suppose probably I was the cook. And then finally, some personal news, certainly not national. I dialed my urologist to make an appointment the other day, and the receptionist said crisply, "Can you hold?" And I said, "What do you think I'm calling?" You can go home and think through that one and laugh after you get home. So with that, we are, see it slowly, the ripples across the room are going.
You're not old enough.
Yeah, younger ones may have difficulty with that. We welcome our 9 candidates for supervisory office here in Brown County. And the pattern that we will follow is very much what we have followed for 17 years in our candidate forums, with some tweaks because of the record-breaking number of candidates. You would have been here till midnight if we didn't tweak things a little bit. So they are seated alphabetically. For you, this is new. For them, it's a review. They got it in an email. A question will come from the audience, and I urge you to make your questions not specific to a particular candidate. Like if I were the candidate, you wouldn't say, "Why were you driving 117 miles an hour in a 14 mile per hour speed zone the other day?" Because that wouldn't apply to the others. Make sure your question is broadly applicable through Brown County. And the first question is going to go to the first one in alphabetical order. They will get 2 minutes to answer. There is a timekeeper. And the timekeeper will let them know when there's 30 seconds left by holding up a caution color, that's amber. And then when they're done, hold up the red, it's time to stop. If you have a short few more words to finish a sentence, do that. But if you launch into another sentence or a running sentence, I'll put the brakes on it. Then the other candidates will have 1 minute to add to, disagree, revise, comment on the question further. In the past, all candidates would do that, but that's where we had to make a change. So they're each going to get 4 opportunities to further respond. So if you intend, and that's why there are 4 eggs in front of each one. If you intend to further respond, for example, the first question will go to candidate Ammerman, I think it is. Yes. And when he is done, at least those close to him, if you just hold up an egg, that indicates to others around you that you would like to respond further. Now, if you hear something that settles it for you, and you don't need to respond, you want to save your 4 till later, just put it back down again. However, once you respond, drop the egg behind you. We would do it up here, but there's some people here, I know they're gonna dive to the floor to grab every one of them. And to avoid that, just flip it behind you, bounce it off the wall, or whatever you wanna do. Don't try. And we do hope that you do use all 4 opportunities. So if we get near the end, I may have to remind you, there's only 2 questions left, and you have 3 eggs, you cheated. You gotta start answering questions. Okay, we will continue doing that. The next question from the audience goes to the second one in alphabetical order, and so on. What I forgot to mention is initially, each one gets 2 minutes to say who they are. They can describe where their district is. They can tell why they're running, what they want you to know about Brown County. They can try to tell better jokes than I do. They can use their 2 minutes however they want. And then we launch into the questions. When the questions are all done, we've cycled through 9 questions, then each gets 1 minute, this time in reverse alphabetical order, and you in the middle won't notice any difference. And each will summarize as they wish in that final minute, appeal for your vote or whatever it might be.
There was a question if they needed to, you can speak less than 1 or 2 minutes.
You may
obviously.
speak less.
And you actually don't have to use all 4 balls either, but.
It would be good if they would, so that the audience hears them, but there is no financial penalty. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$5 per ball.
Okay, so I think with that, we should be ready to get going, and we'll start with candidate Ammerman with the 2 minutes. And we're not going to try not to do this without microphones, because the room is somewhat compact. And so if you keep that in mind when you speak, if it does not work, we'll bring out the mic, but that gets a little close.
Okay.
So, 2 minutes.
So I'm Dan Ammerman. I am running for County Board for District 19. I'm a retired Army Major General, where I was in charge of rebuilding infrastructure overseas. Also retired from Schneider Trucking as an accountant. The reason I'm running is because I believe that Brown County deserves strong leadership. My focus is pretty simple. It appears in Brown County has always been a great place to live and work and raise a family. Looking for that to continue just more efficiently with our tax dollars. So my focus is making sure that all the essential services that we rely upon, we continue to receive. We grow, we have smart growth in our community, and also that we're able to reduce our taxes. So thank you for attending tonight. I really appreciate you being here, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you, candidate Collier.
My name is Charles Collier. I'm running for District 15. More or less constitutes Northern Alloway, Northern Bellevue. If you're north of Alloway Ave, I'm your guy. Come talk to me. I'm a former newspaper reporter. I spent 5-6 years in Denmark, Wisconsin, right down the road. It was just a community newspaper, kind of in the shadows of Frank Wood, Pat Wood. And that role, it really changed how I look at society. I've always been politically motivated. In high school, Thomas Paine, Thomas Jefferson, those were two of the American authors that really got me going and caring about civic life and just thinking about what is the difference between a monarchy and self-rule. What really does that mean? The way I look at it, and especially I saw this in Denmark, is as long as the people have information, the people are motivated to make decisions in their own government, actually society can work great for everybody. All we need is to have a good pipeline of information and a motivated public to care about it. The number one question I'm getting at the doors when I'm knocking is, what the hell does the county even do here? That's a horrible question to run into. Brown County has so many cool things going on. We have the libraries, we have the sheriff's office, we have the ADRC, we have mental health, and there's a million other things I can't list here. It'll take up my whole time. The county really should do a better job and invest in communicating the benefits that are available for people here, because we really do a great job. Those things are so much more transparent when you're out in the rural communities, because the county is such a vital lifeline for those communities to sustain. We need people in the city here to understand that. One of the things I want to run on with that is to get a little bit more transparency from the sheriff's office on their ICE cooperation, and to just have monthly crime reports based on where are the deputies, where are the crimes, where are we spending our efforts. Especially in Alloway and Bellevue, we contract our policing out to the Brown County Sheriff's Office. People do not see the coverage there. They do not feel like there's a local police force. That's something I want to work on, making transparent, and I want to be accessible. My red card's up. I hope you vote for me.
And next is Emily Jacobson.
Hello, I'm Emily Jacobson. I am the current county board supervisor in District 4 that reaches from where Charles ends, and I go basically from Grinion Street all the way to University Avenue, from Monroe Street all the way to the East River. So very long rectangular area. I have been a county board supervisor since 2020. My first run was in District 5, and then I moved out of my childhood home and I bought a house in Astor Park with my husband and 2 daughters. And so we reside there. So this is my 4th time running for office. I currently sit as the chairwoman of Health and Human Services for Brown County, which then makes me the only woman who sits on the executive committee for Brown County. So I'm very happy to say I do have the best hair of that whole group. Home life wise, I have 2 young children. I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. We are in our extracurricular phase of competitive gymnastics and competitive cheerleading. So that is where my weekends are if I'm not knocking doors. And then as well as being in the community, I'm the chairwoman for NeighborWorks Green Bay. I have been on that board of directors for over a decade. And I'm also the De Pere Chamber Foundation Board of Directors and also head of the Resource Development Committee. So I'm a little busy as well as being self-employed. I own a doula agency and started my own nonprofit in 2019 called the Wisconsin Doulas Association. So I sit as the executive director. So I sleep never. But why do I run? I run because I'm a neighbor, and it is important to me that my neighbors know how to connect with each other. I would say that everybody in my district knows who I am, and they know that if they have the question, I may not have the answer, but I'll make sure to find it. And that's really what I run on, is what's important to my neighbors becomes important to me, and helping them just understand where to go and how to find the information. So thank you.
Thank you. Next is candidate Maes.
Hi, my name is Rachel Maes. I'm running for County Board Supervisor in District 2, which basically is Preble High School east along Baird Creek all the way out to the municipal boundary of Green Bay. I'm running because I care about my neighbors, and I care about my kids having a safe community to grow up in. I've got 3 kids. They're 13, 11, and 7, so that keeps me busy. My day job is as a municipal prosecutor, so public safety is very important to me. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to run for county board. The county board helps oversee the circuit court. It oversees the sheriff's department. It oversees the county jail. And there's a lot of different ways that justice is impacted by the county board, local justice. We are blessed in Brown County to have an amazing treatment court and specialty court system that offers more individualized attention towards rehabilitation and actually serving people who've gone through some of the worst times of their lives. And they may have hurt people along the way. And striking that balance of holding people accountable while being compassionate and helping get them back on their feet is really important to me. I'd like to see more homeless outreach throughout the county. Homeless people don't just exist in Green Bay, and it seems like that's where all the resources are. So there are a lot of reasons why I'm running for county board, but I hope to earn your vote if you're living in District 2.
Thank you. And candidate Martens.
Thank you. I'm Megan Martens, and I'm running for District 1. And listening to everybody, it's really exciting because a lot is the same. Loved U.S. history, agree with efficiency with taxes and long-term growth. Compassionate accountability is part of the name of my psychotherapy office. What else? Oh. I'm really excited because I wanted to run. I didn't know what the county board did. I wanted to get more involved, and now I've been spending about 20 hours a week going to all the committee meetings, doing the research, walking and meeting neighbors, and then going home and like deep diving into figuring out who does what and how. So I'm excited and I'm hopeful to keep doing that. My 3 platforms are transparency and accountability. I want to be able to watch it from home. Involvement and representation. I think it's really cool. I met with the neighborhood association at Schmidt Park, and they are super involved in their community, and I want to learn from them and kind of grow from there, make that bigger. And I'm really into fair funding. I personally don't mind taxes if I agree with where they're going, and I know other people don't like taxes. So I think there's a good balance to find what's the right amount and how can we make the most with what we have. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, candidate Toellner.
Thank you so much. My name is Ross Toellner. I'm your Brown County Supervisor for District 24. I want to thank Ron and Joan and the leadership team of New Patriots and all of you for being here, because at 7 o'clock at night on a Thursday after a big snowstorm, I can tell you that you probably have other things that you want to be doing too. But I do appreciate you being here and being willing to listen, because it's people like you that can continue to make this place better, and that's what we need. It's not just us that are sitting up here that can continue to lead, it's you guys out there that are able to do that as well, and your voices matter to us. I'll be honest, I'm not done working. I did this for 2 years. It was extremely fun the last 2 years. Did I have times where I was a little upset? Yeah, but you know what, the best part about it is there's 26 of us on that board, and I can tell you that I've tried to work with every single one of them. And teamwork was something that I didn't know was going to be a huge part of this until I actually got onto it. And so I've worked with people that maybe to the far right in national politics, or maybe to the far left. But you know what, we can continue to work together because we know that Brown County is the best place to be, and that's what I want it to be. I have my wife and my 2 kids here, Julie, Grayson, and Raylan, and they're the reason that I continue to run as well, because I grew up here in Brown County. I've lived here my entire life. I grew up in West Pier, and I want them to do the same thing. I want my kids to be able to do the exact same thing and continue to move forward and push forward on this amazing place that we live. Overall, I can tell you that so far in the last 2 years, we've lowered your taxes by 38 cents for over $1,000 for every $1,000 of your house. And I continue to want to push that for you by also giving you the great opportunities to still have the services that you need. So thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to talking to you.
Thank you. And candidate Toll.
Hi there, my name's Jacob Toll. So I'm a UW Madison graduate. I went to high school at Laconia High School, the speed trap on your way down to Madison. So I'm sure most of you know it. I got my master's in business administration at Campbell University out in North Carolina. Since then, I've started a small business out of our home with my wife here, who's manning the camera, our little Vanna White over there. So it's been an amazing experience. We've been doing it for about 6 years full time, and I'm hoping to bring that experience to the county level then and help other people with getting their own small businesses set up. I really feel like we're very vulnerable here in Brown County with the number of large factories that we have. They employ so many people, and we're seeing this all over the state right now. And we've just had Brown County converting, had that fire. That's gonna leave people, you know, very vulnerable to unemployment if they shut down. I know there was a shutdown today. What was the company again? Do you remember?
UNFI.
Yeah, UNFI had a closure, and then there was one in Appleton, I believe, as well. And this is hundreds of people losing their jobs all at once. And the systems are just not set up right now to help people in those situations. So I want to get the Small Business Administration to come into Brown County. They do almost nothing right now, and we need to help support people. The fastest growing counties across the United States are doing it with businesses with fewer than 50 employees. And we need to start switching to that type of a structure and build that, because A, it gives people more freedom. B, it really supports the local communities and economies by not sending this money off to the millionaires and billionaires who live, you know, on the coasts of the United States and nothing here. And it's just gonna help grow us. And that's really important to me, is taking care of our neighbors. And this is, in my opinion, one of the best ways we can do that here. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And next is candidate Welch.
Hello, my name is Christopher Welch. I'm running for Board of Supervisors in District 14, which is this district here, that is where we are residing right now. My wife and I, we moved here and now we have a 2-year-old daughter, and puppy living here in Arbor Lane here in Alloway. My district is from South Alloway Avenue to east of the river to the East River area here. So most people that reside in this location, I'm hoping to represent everyone here. I am a prosthetist orthotist by trade. That means I build arms and legs for amputees and people that need disabled devices. So I literally put people on their feet for a living. I've been practicing that for 10 years, and prior with all that, ownership of clinic experience, management experience for the state that I currently manage with the company. And I have other investments, of course, of commercial real estate as well. So essentially, I am a numbers guy. I came here to Brown County though too because I grew up in Ripon, Wisconsin. So I grew up kind of in the rural and also urban areas throughout my life. Kind of getting education across the board with big hospital systems, smaller towns, the impacts that it has in rural communities, urban environments. And I would like to bring some of that knowledge here to this community. Because like it or not though too, Brown County is kind of facing a similar situation that, you know, my small town dealt with, in that people are moving to Brown County and other major hub districts. And I don't believe that all these districts have things set up right now for this intake of people. And we have the ability in the future right now to get ahead of this problem, which could be a major one here down the line. And I believe that is the remainder of my time.
Thank you. Candidate Zamaites.
Okay, my name is Jonathan Zamaites. I'm running for District 23, which is just east of Ross's district in the east side of Howard. I moved to the Brown County area for better economic opportunity and to be with my now fiance. She said yes to me after I trapped her in the middle of a national park. So I moved here from the UP. I was in the UP for the last 10 years. I have a degree from Michigan Tech up there in physics and social science. I now get to impersonate an engineer though here locally at a local dryer manufacturer company on the east side, east side of Green Bay on the Bellevue border. I decided to run because I just honestly wanted to make a difference. I moved here and everybody opened me with the area opened up to me with open arms, and I really want to pay it forward. Brown County is in a very opportunistic area where we have a lot of manufacturing, we have a lot of people here, and we have a lot of people who want to work. That being said, we are also growing, and there are patterns that we can try to replicate or try to try to avoid in terms of expansion, where ways to lower taxes by either having an influx of people or also being able to address public infrastructure and basically pre-planning into the future for our population here in the area. I also want to run just to make a difference in the community. I want to listen to you no matter what side of the aisle you're on. I don't care if you think the moon is made out of cheese or if it's an actual piece of space rock. I'm just trying to make a difference, and I want to hear your issues and see how I can help. Thank you.
Thank you. Something I will add that I missed in the introductory remarks, and interestingly, it now ran away from me. As I listened enthralled to all of these introductions, all candidates in the 26 districts are not finding someone competing against them. What we did at Northeast Wisconsin Patriots is invited the two candidates in each district where there were competitors. There were 14 such districts, so 28 were invited, 9 are here. Okay, with that, we're going to go to the audience. And the first question is going to go to candidate Ammerman. And we hope the audience has a number of rock-solid questions. Yes, do start.
So, in Brown County, we have had a growing homeless population since about COVID. It's been growing pretty steadily and it hasn't really shown any sign of slowing down. This has led to increased unemployment. Although the homeless do have jobs, they just can't afford to rent houses, which has led to some increase in crime. And although we have increased the police budget, it doesn't really seem to be doing anything. So this leads the question is, if we improve the police budget, but it doesn't fix the issue, what is gonna fix the issue?
Okay, well, I don't think I have a complete answer, but I have a partial answer. So I think some of the closing the gap could be actually outside of government with nonprofits. So, you know, in particular, one of the projects that I'm involved with for veterans is a tiny homes project, and it's not just providing homes for homeless veterans, but it also has additional services that help get them up on their feet again. So I think nonprofits could carry a large part of that. I think most of the homeless issues are actually municipal issues and not county issues.
Thank you.
I'm gonna use an egg. Do I get like an award for the first egg?
You what?
Do I get an award for the first egg? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, and you can just toss it behind, because it'll roll up.
One of the things I've looked at, and these are really dynamic issues, an issue I hear from people in the sheriff's office all the time is they're going out to calls and they're realizing it's more of a social services call. But our social workers are not only understaffed, they haven't seen a raise since before COVID. There's little motivation for people to stay in that department, much less strive to be better. I'm not exactly sure how you tackle it, but maybe more officially merging social services with the sheriff's department so that they can work together to solve these issues, whether that's on the call or with homelessness. A lot of times it comes down to psycho or mental health issues. I feel like those are the areas we need to attack, not necessarily to outsource it to other organizations that we wouldn't necessarily have a say or control over.
And next.
So I think that part of the answer, first of all, we're not going to police our way out of homelessness, which is why I also sit on the board of NeighborWorks with Emily. I think that increasing housing and really focusing on providing an address where people can get paychecks and have mental health services and addiction services help address underlying issues that may be leading to why they're homeless. It is more of the solution. We can certainly have police, sheriffs asking people to move along, but we're not going to police our way out of homelessness. So I've actually advocated for a specialty court addressing homelessness and the interactions with the justice system. Get a pilot program where you get 5 to 10 beds. People can get housing, they can get their services, and if they don't comply with the program, then they face the accountability on the flip side. But I would advocate for a homeless treatment court.
Thank you. And another one.
Yes.
An egg to throw.
Okay, this one I know about. I worked in the community shelter, I worked in residential facilities. I did my internship at Ozaki Human Services, and when needs are met, crime goes down. So it's about how do we help people get their basic needs met and invest in them, which invests in our community. So if we help the people that need a safe place to stay, and they get their mental health and medical health checked out, they get jobs, and then they contribute back. It's like a full circle. So I think supporting human services, supporting the sheriff's office, a lot of deputies would probably love to help and just need to learn how to talk to somebody that's going through those issues.
Thank you. Any others want to? Yes, there's one.
I just wanted to add it. So I work at St. John's Homeless Shelter. I work in the men's shelter. I have for the last 3 years. I see those gentlemen coming in every single night, well, every night that I'm there. Mental health is just a huge portion of this. It's unfortunate what these gentlemen are going through and these ladies are going through as well. And what I think we as the county can do is continue to work on those areas. Over the last year, we increased our social workers by 11 people. No big help to Emily Jacobson on that, on the Health and Human Services Board. But we were able to increase those people, and it's not just about the adults, it's about the kids that the adults have as well. Homelessness is generational, so if we can stop it at some point and we can help the kids that are in these situations, we're gonna be able to slow down a lot of that homelessness. It might not help today, but it will help tomorrow. And that's what we have to continue to think about. It's not just a today issue, it's a forever issue.
Thank you. And there's another one.
I'd like to point out a personal anecdote on my part, though, too, that I can add to this mix. In the course of January, I had 3 patients that were contacting me saying that they cannot afford health insurance anymore because it went up to $1,000 per month premium. They had to refuse getting leg work and treatment in order to do that. Part of that induces homelessness. Part of that induces mental health. Part of that also brings out those issues, but the underlying cause on that one is finance. How do people have the ability to build their own individual wealth in this situation? A common starter home right now is going to be roughly around $200,000, almost $300,000 for people to get started. Meanwhile, while here in Brown County, we are expanding our regions every decade right now to all these other neighborhoods, Ledgeview, just across the board. Howard's been developed further, Swamico, all these areas are expanding outwards. Do we have the ability here in the future then to start developing a baseline for people to get started on, to start building their own wealth on their end? But, I think I'm at the red.
Okay,
I can go up, but.
I believe you're passing. Okay, we'll go to a second question, and this one is going to go to candidate Collier first. You'll get 2 minutes, so if you want to respond further, we'll get 1. So, what is our next question from the public, right here?
I would really like to be able to watch county board meetings from home, and I can't attend them generally. I go to a lot of other meetings, but I would really like to see the business of my county, and from the comfort of my home, like other, governmental bodies that we should do. Can you please tell me when that might happen?
Yeah, I know, it's been, there's people who here have been on the board, it's been 10, 12 years that they've been working on it, going through meetings, getting various contracts. I know they were about to finalize a contract with one, but the captioning wasn't exactly ADA compliant. I'll be honest, I haven't dived into all the people who contract these things. I just know that there's communities like Bellevue and Alloway who have broadcast their meetings without issue for about the same amount of time that Brown County's been looking into this. So exactly, what the parameters are, where the roadblocks are, I can't tell you exactly what that is. But my job at the newspaper was sitting in these government meetings nobody wanted to come to and telling people what happened and encouraging people to show up. This is a primary motivation for me getting on the board, is to make sure that we make this happen within the term. And I don't know if we have to call Bellevue, if we have to call other 500 municipalities across the country that somehow been able to figure this out when Brown County has been incapable of doing it. But I promise you, this is an issue I will dedicate myself to, and it's something I am dedicated to get across the goal line here. I'm right with you. Brown County needs to communicate its successes. We need to communicate what we're doing. We need to communicate the value that the county presents to residents so that that tax bill doesn't just feel like a bill.
Thank you. Anybody else want to jump in? I guess you're the first one.
I want to shout out Ross. Ross has spent a lot of his last 2 years working on getting this done to no avail. I think there's been an unnecessary pushback from our corporation council with just inexact numbers on what metrics we actually have to hit. That's delayed a lot of this. Additionally, we're under contract with a company, and that's hurting us. What I think we need to do is just immediately send it out. It's not going to happen until after the election cycle. It's just the way it is at this point. And then what I would vote for is to immediately send it to an RFI, get proposals from companies, scrap our contract with that we currently have, and just get it done. It's embarrassing that it's taken this long, because I'm one of the few people going to the majority of these meetings and filming them and putting them up on YouTube, because we need something. We need some form of accountability for what's going on, and people just are not aware. Hence all these conversations about, I don't even know what the county board does, and that's because they're not putting it out there. Through no fault to Ross, he's working very hard.
Okay, thank you. Candidate Welch.
I mean, the process is pretty much something that I agree with on how we can get this thing done pretty fast up to. We could do it through any one of these major platforms. You could even do it through Zoom. Like, this is something that we could do almost immediately if we just dedicated it to it. I mean, for patients of mine and everything, that would love to go to it, and too, they have difficulty even getting downstairs sometimes. I would love to be able to make this readily available for everyone. I mean, just to put this into context and everything, where I grew up in Ripon, we put that on the local channel on TV so that everybody could see what we were going on in the city council. How we don't do that right now, and this is circa 1990s, how we don't do that right now, it's embarrassing.
Thank you. Yes?
It really is a chicken and the egg problem. So if we were to dial it back to, let's say, 2015 on the onset of online streaming, there would be no issue for Brown County to publicize those meetings. There's no excuse back then. They could have just posted it onto YouTube or whatever your streaming platform of choice is. The problem we really run into is the deadline that's coming up next month with federal regulations with the ADA compliancy. So basically, the federal government is telling Brown County, because our population is high enough, that we need to meet X number of percentage correctness on the subtitles. I think it's around 97%, I could be wrong. And the problem with that is that the county has put it off for so long that we kind of just last minute, now we have to figure out how we want to do it, because now the public has an interest in it. And that's the real issue, is trying to meet that federal guideline while also making it so people can watch the stream or the recording.
Thank you very much. And back down to the far end. Any comment there? No? All right, moderators should not engage in the discussion, but I want to share a thought. One of you mentioned the problem with corporate counsel being reluctant. A good friend of mine, whose opinion I trust, said lawyers are the most risk-averse people on the face of the earth. Maybe you know that is true more than I do.
I won't take that personally.
Not the adjective I
Well, the gentleman didn't say all. You're good. All right, we look then for a third question, which will go to candidate Jacobson first for 2 minutes. Back there is one.
Hi, good evening. My name is David Bartokowski. I'm a businessman here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. My question to you is, and shame on me because I don't dig enough into the Brown County Supervisor arena politics. I mostly dealt with the city council. But what is it that actually ties your hands, other governing bodies, in the city of Green Bay or Brown County that would, that you guys would be up against? And what would be the perfect scenario? How would you restructure it so more things become more effective and things pass and so forth? And I just want to make another observation here that, and it validates what I always thought is women are smarter than men. And don't beat me, man, don't take me out back and beat me. But you guys outnumber them tonight. It's a little disappointing that you don't have more people here listening to this, because it is important, very important. But anyway, that's my question too.
Okay, so I think my understanding is how can county cross over to other municipalities, cities, and work collaboratively?
Yes.
I think the best example of that is the coal piles. So if we try to figure out, the coal piles are moving. For those who do not know, that will be one legacy I will be able to tell my children when it is finally clear that mom had a vote in that and she helped make that happen. And to me, that is something that's been years in the making, well before my time even. The way it had to work was city, had to work with county, had to work with state, right? And then we also had to work with the owners of the property, C. Rice. C. Rice does not sell their land. So at the end of the day, once that land is all cleared up where the coal piles are, they will be leasing that to the city for redevelopment. The county wanted to make sure that city wouldn't be taken advantage of in that. We also had to make sure we wouldn't be taken advantage of in any other way. And so there was a lot of conversations. Some of them got heated. At the end of the day, we still got it done. I want to say I would love to see the city and county be more collaborative. It's very hard. I think one of the best examples I have in my district is Old St. Joe's School, Aldo Leopold. It's a very busy street on Monroe Street, and we needed crosswalks put in. But it's a state highway, county highway, city road. So who do you contact? And so who's in charge of the crosswalks? Who's in charge of the resurfacing? Who's in charge of the snow removal? Who's in charge? So there are a lot of those intersections that have to happen. At the county level, you're learning it on the fly and being like, okay, we need to contact them. It's really about reaching out to each other and being the first one to try to bridge the gap versus waiting for other municipalities to come to us or not. We also go to county associations throughout the state, meet collaboratively with other county board supervisors, and our legislative days, we go down to Madison and talk with our legislators in the Capitol yearly about what our needs are. So I think we're doing a good job, but there's always room for improvement, absolutely.
Thank you. And candidate Maes.
Look out. So sometimes you just got to get it done. And you have to pick up the phone. You have to shoot an email to someone you never talked to before. I have sat in on every nuisance abatement meeting that the Green Bay Police Department has had in the last 8 years. And we were seeing that there were drug deals that were happening, and 9 months down the road, the property owner would say, hey, I didn't know this was going on at my property, like what the hell? And we reached out to the drug task force, and we had information shared with community police officers so that we could bring property owners into that conversation right after the criminal complaint was filed. We could speed up the process. We could help landlords and property owners be aware of what's going on in their properties and help collaborate and be part of the solution. So I think sometimes it's just picking up the phone and having an uncomfortable conversation with someone you may not know and just find a way to get it done.
Thank you. Anybody else along? There's one there in King Day.
Something I've learned from going to this large amount of committee meetings and board meetings, there's a good number of supervisors currently on the board that have this apathy. They don't care. You can tell because they never speak. They always vote yes, and nothing else happens. They sit there and then they go home. And some of them complain about not getting to go home earlier than they already do. And what I would push for, and I want everyone up here to know as well, I'm gonna push for any of us that make it onto the board, even if I get on the board or not. We have to start working together with these other municipalities as well. I know PFAS is a huge deal right now with our water supply, and everybody's taking it in, you know. Colon cancer is on the rise in millennials and Gen Z right now, and that's terrible, and I think a lot of it has to do with this PFAS. That's what some of the studies are saying. We have to work together with these other municipalities and counties, and we can't just sit there and do nothing at these meetings.
you. Any here, about down there? None. So we will go to question 4. And I'd like to see 5 or 6 hands fighting for the opportunity. Otherwise, before we go to a second question, normally we wouldn't, but we will. I'm going to inject one and then, we do have one.
Go ahead.
Okay. The county sheriff's department is generally independent of the county board. That's true throughout Wisconsin, I believe. Except that, of course, the sheriff's department is funded by the budget that the board adopts. Should our sheriff's department cooperate fully with ICE if that may come? And the question goes first to Ken.
Yeah, that's me. So, ICE has been a hot topic, and the county board has very little to do with the relationship with ICE. The sheriff it's his prerogative whether he decides to contract with ICE. My concern from a law enforcement perspective is we have a lot of very well-trained police officers, sheriff's deputies, state troopers. So as far as cooperating fully, I trust our local law enforcement to serve and protect. And my concern is when we see things like what happened in Minneapolis, where we go immediately from pepper spray to lethal force. That is not the proper escalation of force. And I look at these situations, this is my day job, is looking at whether there's liability from law enforcement and trying to mitigate that liability, trying to make sure that people's rights aren't violated. So ICE will always exist. And as long as we have laws around customs enforcement, immigration enforcement, ICE will exist. So we have to find ways to do that, to cooperate, to work together while still protecting our neighbors. I'm concerned about the fact that our jail is at 100% occupancy and we are shipping our Brown County inmates into other counties. Why are we housing ICE detainees when we have Brown County residents who should be in the Brown County jail? So are we paying more to ship our own neighbors to other counties? How much are we getting paid by ICE for those contracts? I want to make sure that we are being good stewards of the Brown County taxpayers' dollars.
Thank you. Anybody else on that topic coming along here? None? We'll go down there. Yes.
All right. So funny you bring that up, Rachel. I do know that, again, the county does have very little to do with what the sheriff is doing. But just for perspective, the transparency, what matters to me is that we have to build another jail pod already to babysit Department of Corrections who can't move through our system because it's pipelined and funneled, right? So this isn't just about ICE, but I do want to let you guys know in April of 2025, the Brown County Sheriff did go into a contract with Detention and Transportation Services with a value of $90,000. So the sheriff is actively doing that. But to Rachel's point, we're now having to build a third jail pod on your tax dollar because the state will not give us enough ADAs and judges like we need to move people through. So please call your legislators, but they're now on a 10-month vacation and will not be back until January. So I want you to be aware that they're getting their paychecks, their health insurance, and here we are showing up for work. And your state legislators are not. And our Department of Corrections, we're just babysitting them in our jail. Little known fact.
I think we can go backwards. There's one.
On top of that, the sheriff is an elected position. They are correct. The decision to work with that 287G contract is entirely the sheriff's prerogative. Everything that goes on with the sheriff's office is entirely up to them. It is an elected position. We just voted to raise the salary, or not me, I'm not on the board yet.
The salary.
The salary of the sheriff was voted to be increased last night. Regarding this ICE contract, especially following Alex Preddy, because that hit as close to home as it did, around the district, there's just a general amount of fear around just immigration enforcement. Regardless of where people are on the aisle, they just don't know what's going on. The thing that I see is a really common sense measure that the Public Safety Committee can put in place is if we're gonna be involved in this 287G contract, could we at least just get a report of the amount of people that we're leasing or that we're housing, what their charges are, how long have they been here, and what is the federal payout that we get in return? At bare bones, it gives us a chance to see whether or not those books are actually balancing with us having to pay other counties to house our own inmates, and it gives the voters a better chance to decide when they are voting for the sheriff.
Thank you. We will go to question 5, and that is also a hint to those holding eggs on the plate, that you're going to judge when or where you might use them. And I believe next was Glenn, yes.
Yeah, obviously, you've seen in the news that data centers is a big issue. And in Brown County, we have town zoning instead of county zoning. But I'd just like to get the feel from you folks on where you think. I know a number of towns in Brown County have put moratoriums in place. Morrison has done it, probably that it'll be challenged in court if it gets to that, but town of Holland, my town of Rockland, they just put in a 1-year moratorium. Give us time to create the ordinance that's proper for data centers, but they have a big impact, positive and negative, so I'd just like to hear anybody's comments from the county.
All right, and candidate Martens, you get 2 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to answer that, but first I wanted to say thank you for hosting and thank you for coming. I was nervous when I started, I completely forgot to say thank you, so I wanted to do that. And personally, I'm super into the environment, so data centers freak me out, and I understand that we're using them and we need them, so this is something that I would hope I hear a lot about from the community and residents and see what everybody wants to do about it. This is also something that I probably have to go home and deep dive and be like, okay, what does this cost us as far as money, land, what are the consequences, and figure it out from there. This isn't something that I'm super familiar with, but it's something I can get super familiar with and work with everybody and figure out the best solution for us.
Further comments? I would think data centers would get a lot.
So I had the opportunity to go down to Madison and testify in front of the state. The session ran out of time before I actually got to, but I was ready and prepared for it. I have actually submitted the Manitowoc County resolution to our own Human Services Board to put forth to our own county board for a moratorium. It just needs to happen. If you all have your houses as part of your retirement package, and an AI data center comes in here, you can just look forward to it immediately dropping by at least 30%. So I don't know how many of you can take a 30% hit on your net wealth to your property. I know I wouldn't be able to, but there's legislation at the state level that they're working on, and we need to see the results of what they're going to do, because they might end up going with a complete ban in Wisconsin at the legislative level. We don't know, but at the county level, we need to at least put a moratorium in until they can decide at that state level, because this is gonna ruin people's home values, and then if it ruins it, and then the ban goes in place before that building even gets built, we're screwed. So I think a moratorium is needed.
Thank you. And anybody? Yes.
Yeah, yes to the moratorium, yes to that it is proven that it devalues homes in this area, so that does impact wealth of everybody that does live here. On the other front though too, is that there is a risk of pollution, as they have already shown to do in our Great Lakes, which could very well impact the rest of the agriculture and other types of economy that we take advantage of here in the Green Bay and other regions. That being said though too, the question also may exist though, what do we do if we say that there's a moratorium and then another county next door decides, or the UP decides not to put one in place? Well, we also need to put in protections on our front that if they decide to go with it and we say keep our lands protected and they don't protect those lands because water trickles down, we need to have those safeguards in place too with that moratorium. It affects us all.
Thank you.
So data centers are kind of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, you have them where they do very valuable scientific and medical research in terms of things like protein folding, or in my case, with my background in physics, a lot of computational physics. Those computer systems are very, very, very advantageous, but at the same time, it really depends on where it goes. There's nuance to everything here. Obviously, you're not gonna want some 3,000 square foot building coming up next to your house, radiating heat and noise and taking up all the water out of the water table near you. I think instead of a moratorium, we need to properly regulate them. So yes, we can kick the can down the road, but we did that with trying to fill in the county board needs, and look at where we are now. So I think we need something actually tangible and some sort of regulation to put that in place, and to have everybody who are stakeholders in that, whether it be the neighborhood, whether it be a direct neighbor, the power company, WPS, are we gonna be paying higher rates, or are they gonna be paying for their own power?
Thank you. Down there, any further comments? None? Then we will go to question 6. Right? Well, there was a gentleman there.
Well, I'm gonna pass.
You're gonna pass, all right, that's permitted. Okay, lady there.
So, we've talked about crime and we've talked about some other things. We haven't talked about any of the county parks. The county has some fabulous parks. I am very environmentally focused. We have a lot of invasives in our parks. Buckthorn, garlic mustard. I go to the county park up on Bay Shore, and it's full of buckthorn. And things need to be done. The city of Green Bay, the city of De Pere, we're focusing on getting pollinators. The DNR is focusing on getting rid of some invasives and restoring the shoreline. I would like to hear how you as county supervisors would work to get rid of the invasives in our parks and increase the number of pollinators that are planted there.
All right, Ross, you get to tackle that first.
I love the question. I'll be honest, that is not my area of expertise at all. And I'll add one step further. When I got onto this board and still today, my true belief is that I'm not an expert in anything. You can ask my wife, I'm never right. But what I'll tell you is, I'm not the expert in things, but we have some pretty amazing people. Matt Creasy, our director of parks, is absolutely amazing at what he does. And that would be the type of question that I would be asking him. I also am part of the Oneida Nation, or the Oneida Nations is part of my district. And one of the things that I've learned is they're an amazing resource to be able to have conversations with and get some really good insight out of. Sounds like you have some amazing insights as well. And I can be honest in saying that just talking to the general public, walking down the streets and having conversations about anything from fluoride to what's going on with our sheriff's department to what's going on in our parks is just a part of what I enjoy. I love to be able to hear about it, and I love to be able to ask the questions of Matt Creasy or of the sheriff or anybody else. When it comes to our parks, I completely agree. We have some of the most amazing parks. Part of my district is Pampered Park, and my kids and I go there almost daily in the summer. And I love what we've done. I love that we continue to build onto it. I love that there's rental space there. I love that we're able to have jungle gyms and all of those different types of things to be able to have our kids be able to get out and be active. Because I'll be honest, my kids otherwise would be iPad kids and they'd be sitting in the house. But because of all of the amazing things that we have at our parks, we're able to do that. And the invasive species part of it, I think that we need to be able to do more research and be able to continue to push forward. And I'll end with this. At the reforestation camp, I got phone calls from the Bird Society when I first started, and they were upset because they were going to get rid of some of the trees, and I was able to talk to Matt Creasy, and he completely changed his plans on that.
Thank you. And did you say earlier that your wife was here?
My wife was here, and as you can see, she left. So
I was going to ask her in all your years of marriage, would she, for your self-image sake, identify one time that you were?
She would say no. She can't even give me that satisfaction.
Thank you.
Would I be able to get one back by chance, or is that? I've already burned through them all. I went to U.W. Oshkosh, where I was the regional manager of Clean Boats, Clean Water, and worked with Wisconsin DNR for a biological internship. I also was a microbiologist once upon a time before I became a prosthetist. The science is out. If invasive species get into a body of water, it's there. The only way you got to do to prevent it is to do preventative measures. You have to clean the boats. You have to prevent seeds getting transported from one area to another, because once it gets into it, that's how we get things like sheephead in Lake Winnebago. That's how we get the buckthorn. That's how we get all these mussels in these areas. There is no good way to get that out once that bottle's uncorked. So it is only with preventative measures and funding and working with the Wisconsin DNR to be enforcing that. Now, I've literally worked on docks where the DNR was waiting for people to come out with a bunch of mussels on the bottom of the boat and draining their wells, so they would find them pretty much and force them to do it before they went on the roads.
Thank you. Anybody else on the parks issue? Then we will. No? Okay. So we will move to question 7. That means there are 3 more questions. If you have 3 eggs, do your best to engage in each one of them. And the question back there, and then we'll come over here.
You had mentioned about fluoride in our water system here, and I'd like to know what your supervisor are going to do to possibly remove it, because there's a lot of scientific data affecting unborn children and small children as well. And I happen to believe it. I'm kind of a science nerd. I do a lot of investigative reading. So I'd like to know what you guys can do and possibly to eliminate that out of our water system.
And that question goes first to candidate Toll.
Yeah, so I am not an expert on fluoride. I've had a lot of dental work in my day, so not the best person to answer the question first, but I'll take my shot at it. So my understanding is fluoride is a naturally occurring substance. It's in all of our water systems across the world. Some have higher amounts, some have lower amounts, and the populations get used to how much fluoride is in those systems, and then the bodies adapt to that. It's exactly what Ross said about not being an expert. So what I would lean on is I would probably try and gather the dentists in the area, because they know teeth better than anybody. And I would say, what's your opinions on it, And then it is a tough situation, because we should have the ability to opt out of these things instead of just pushing it onto everybody. I do know there are systems that can be put into your house that can clear the fluoride from your water systems. What I would be curious about, and this is something I haven't done enough research on, there's been a lot of researching involved with this, but with all of these topics, and this is one that's low on my list, but is there a way that we can maybe help subsidize for the people who want to clear the fluoride from their water systems? Because there's a lot of people who do benefit from the fluoride systems. We talk about our homeless populations and that. It's probably pretty sure that they're not doing the best they can for their teeth, and going to regular dental cleaning. So this sort of a situation does help people like that, because my dentist told me the quickest way to a heart attack is by having bad teeth. So that, I had a tooth pulled, so they were like, you gotta figure this situation out. So I would just trust the dentists in the area, and then maybe work with homeowners, give them a way to come to us and say, can you help us with getting one of these systems put into our house? And maybe we shortcut it for them and say, here's the companies that are approved with dental associations to clear fluoride from water systems. There might be an answer there. I don't have enough information, so it's not the best answer for you, but.
Okay, yes.
So I have a little bit of a family knowledge with this. My dad is a retired wastewater treatment engineer. In terms of water treatment and items like that, fluoride is dangerous in high doses. That is undisputable. But that being said, along with sort of everything, it's the dose that kills you kind of a thing. For example, you can overdose on caffeine, for example. The amount of coffee you have to drink for that, I don't think anybody could ingest that much coffee. But you can die due to caffeine overdose from coffee. For fluoride, there is a net benefit in the sense that it basically replaces the calcium that's in your teeth, and through that fluorinization process. The dentist applies it to you on your teeth if your insurance covers it. I'm currently fighting with mine over that. So basically, in terms of answering your question though, for how to address that, the county board wouldn't be able to necessarily address something like that. You would have to go to your local municipality. But your county board representative could help you in terms of figuring out that process. So it would be like for me, for the Village of Howard does all the water for my area. I would have to go to the village and then see where they get their water supply. Things like the city of Flint, for example, back in the early 2000s, there with lead in the pipes, they got their water out of the lake, and then when they switched to the river, it was more acidic, and so the lead leached out of the pipes.
And I apologize because I messed up on the timer. You got a little extra time for that.
Thank you.
I just like Jonathan.
You have to realize that she told me before, because she's always been our time, that she cannot listen educationally to any of the answers because she's so focused on time. So she needs to know.
So,
Jacobson shared a video.
Okay, any down there on the fluoride issue? Yes.
Okay, you wanna go? We have to use them, so.
Ladies first.
Oh, thank you so much. I made notes. So this is why I love being on county board, especially when I'm knocking doors. Because people will say, well, there's higher taxes. And I say, no, actually we reduced your taxes. They're like, oh, well, that tree in my yard. I'm like, oh, that's city. And they're like, oh, well, then I'm happy with you. And I'm like, okay, cool. The hard part with this one is that fluoride is not, it's city municipality, it's not county. But what I am is a connector. So my job then is connect you to the city and municipality, to the water treatment. And then also if you want to go further with it, then it would be the state for regulating safety and guidelines. So again, being a connector and being that's what the county could do for you. It's not that we could take direct action.
Yes.
And me, I want to say this was 2019, 2020. Local activist Brenda Stoudenmeyer, she made a huge spearhead, was able to get a hearing with, I believe it was the Board of Health here at Brown County. Went through, I think they had a ton of experts come in, kind of debated the issue, and kind of what it resolved is exactly what Emily just said. It's not really the county's jurisdiction to like put a moratorium for the municipalities of you have to do this, you have to do this. But I mean, I work in dental sales. I work with dentists actually all over the spectrum. People who use fluoride and holistic practices who don't use it. Where I stand is I want people to live the lives that they want to live. I want people to have the freedom to do what they want to do. If there's larger science or a lawsuit either in Madison or with the FDA in Washington, 100%. Let's follow the science. Let's be consistent with current best practice policy. But I wouldn't look to try to overstep our bounds on something that I am, whatever. I want to respect the bounds of everybody and give everybody the right to live their lives the way they see fit.
Could you connect me to somebody that can fix our roads?
I already got rid of my egg. My time's up.
Okay, another egg here.
Okay.
Yes.
I really want to go back to the pollinator question, but I would, I guess, do what Emily said and connect you with the person that can help. And for roads, like county roads, yes. And I just found out it takes years, so if you're starting to see cracks or potholes, put in the request now. So then, by the time there's a hole, it can be fixed. So, you want my opinion on fluoride? Okay, so I have been a little bit of a hippie in the past, and I asked my dentist, and they said, if you're not drinking it, get the fluoride treatment. If you are drinking it, you don't need the fluoride treatment. Dental hygiene is directly related to your heart health, mental health, and cognitive health. So if you're not getting any fluoride, you're really going to take care of your teeth. And then if you get too much, it might mess you up, so I don't know.
Okay, another ball down there.
Yes. Some of the questions are pretty technical questions. And with my experience, one of my mottos that I've always believed in is we're always smarter collectively than we are ourselves. So I don't think if you vote for any of us, you're not voting for us for our expertise in fluoride or invasive plants or whatever. But what you are voting for us for is to go ahead and to pull the experts together and solve the problems. And a lot of the solutions are going to be, not simply a county solution. It's going to be, might be county, might be state, like the bridge that's being built in De Pere, it's county, it's state, it's city of De Pere, so they're complex. But what I do is I get things done, like getting the railroad done in Bosnia, getting the airport open in Baghdad. I mean, all those things were complex, but it's just, getting the experts and pushing things forward.
And I think I saw another one, or, yes, okay.
I gotta use them, right? Otherwise I lose them. So you asked about the fluoride because I had brought it up, right? And so I remember Jake. I don't remember exactly which road he lives on, but I remember knocking on his door and having the conversation with him. And the first thing that he said to me was, "What's your opinion on fluoride?" And I'm like, "What's my opinion on what?" And I'm like, "I don't even know what it is." So much like many of the other people on here, we're not experts on these things. And I think you hope to understand out of anything from this that we're all kind of humans just like you guys, and we don't know everything. And that's why we love to hear from people asking these questions, and we can do the research, and we can have a gentleman like Mr. Ammerman that talks about how he does all of these amazing things, and he's able to build things across the country, and Miss Jacobson, who can talk about a lot of the different areas, or Miss Maes, who's an attorney, or I can go right down this list, and I apologize that I'm going to miss some of you. We could have somebody building a leg for us at some point too, I guess. What I love about the county board is there's 26 of us, and we all get to work together and continue to do things.
Thank you. I think that's the end of the eggs on that one. So we are going to question number 8, which candidate Welch is eager to field, and I believe it's over here.
I'm out of eggs right now.
In recent years, there's been a number of people who have left their positions on the county board before their term is up. And just from observing as a citizen, it feels like the process for replacing that person has not always been very transparent. And I'd like to see more. I would like to see more involvement from the rest of the body in the replacement of that person. Can you talk a little bit about what you feel with regard to what that process should look like?
Call of hands here on this one. Who is in a district where nobody actually voted for that entity?
Yeah, that's not okay. Yeah.
So that is 14, that is 15, that is 22. There are others. They apply to it like it's a job. And I don't believe that that is actually acceptable in democracy. I believe that every people should have the ability to vote for the candidates that should be representing them on the board. My current opponent right now is one of those, and I was at the last board meeting there too, and there was no chiming in on any of the big topics that were coming in, despite some of the drama that was coming in from that one, where a dispatcher resigned due to some of the results of it. There was, I do believe that if that happens, there has to be an emergency election or have a vacant seat until the next election. There really should be no implementation of somebody without hearing from the people first, because who hired him is the question. Like, honest question, this one. Does anybody in this room knows who hired all 3 of our now board supervisors?
I know.
I'm kind of facetious, but yes, the point is that, yes, on the common knowledge of it though too, we vote for everything else here for our elected officials. Why, if somebody resigns, is that any different? They hold special elections for it in all their positions. Why would we not do that here?
Thank you. And here.
The reason we don't do it here is because it's state statute. That is how those positions are filled, sadly. Regardless of the individual, the county chair, or the county board member chair, Patrick Buckley, gets to have that appointed, and that's state statute. If you would want anybody to have that fixed, you would have to contact your local representative for the state of Wisconsin, and there's not really much the county board can do about it. It's just how it is, sadly.
Anybody else? Yes? Blue egg.
All right. Yep, blue. So when I moved in 2020, so I had to resign from my District 4 seat in order to run for my District 5 seat. So District 5 for District 4. So it was vacant from November to the election. My seat was not filled. There was nobody who applied. There was nobody, they did not seek to fill it, so it sat. That's also bad, because that means there was no representation for that district. So I think that there's a hard balance between the state representation, who's sitting in that space, but this last time around, we had so many that left so quickly. Usually it's 1, maybe 2, and it was like 5 in like a short amount of time, and it brought a lot more forward. For us, I know myself, I had put someone forward to do it, and the interview didn't go well. It was very much an interview, but there is a little bit of checks and balances, but it should be more transparent on the checks and balances as well, and we are working on that.
Pink one?
All right, so what we can do as a county board is we elect the board chair. And electing someone in that position who is fair-minded and looking to reach across any political aisle, any difference of opinions, and be collaborative, that is something that, as a body, the county board can do. One of the reasons why I'm running for this seat is because I firmly believe in nonpartisan positions. And this isn't about national politics, it's about neighbors helping neighbors. It's about putting people above party and politics. So to the extent that, yes, the statutes authorize the county board chair to appoint people to fill vacancies, we empower that person. We choose that person who's going to fill those vacancies, and hopefully someone who's going to take the opinion and the input from the body, from the rest of the board members, to make that decision.
Okay, one more?
Yep.
Yes?
I'm very hopeful that with increased overall transparency, that will also become more transparent. I'm really excited. I think once they start recording all the meetings and seeing how people communicate during the community meetings, during the overall meetings, everyone might hold themselves a little bit more accountable for their choices and communicate more clearly why they make those choices.
Thank you. And I believe there is a pink one. Okay.
You know, I'm going to actually use Miss Martens came up to me 2 meetings ago and asked me a question on why the agendas that we have are so confusing. And she's like, why can't we make these agendas like user friendly? Have you ever tried to read our agendas? They make no sense unless you went to like 8 other meetings. And it kind of stuck with me. And so to use that as the point of the other portion of this question is, I don't think a lot of people know what's going on, and they feel super uncomfortable being willing to jump in and try something. So to be able to get somebody to even volunteer, I asked many people when we had opened positions that I knew, and they were like, I don't want to do that. And they're like, I don't know what's going on. So we have to be able to educate, and I as an educator, that's like my #1 thing, is I want to be able to be educated and educate others. And that's a big portion of this, is to continue to educate the public on what's going on. Because questions that are being asked, sometimes we can do things about, and we don't even know how to do them because we don't have enough people of expertise on board.
Thank you. And down there.
Yeah. I mean, it might not always work, but in District 19, when the person that won the election had to step aside, the person that ended up taking the District 19 position was the person with the second most votes. You know, so it's a person that came in second in that election. So I think that's a good model, because it was somebody that was that some of the residents did vote for, but it might not always be possible.
Thank you, and one more. No?
So mine was a little bit different situation. So I had my paperwork in to run for the Board of Supervisors in early November. My supervisor decided to retire in mid-November. They sent the paperwork to the Press Gazette, and the Press Gazette did not publish it. So it very much gave the appearance of impropriety that the chair hand-selected who would be the next person, and then I was not allowed to interview at all, even though all of my paperwork had been turned in with a clear indicator that I wanted to be on the board. So we need better ways, and I made enough of a stink on the board, at the meetings, online, that 2 resolutions were put forward. I don't think we've had much movement on them since then, but that's a voice that I'm gonna continue to bring, is whenever there appears to be impropriety, I'm going to do whatever is necessary to clear that up and make sure that resolutions and rules get put forth that make it clear and obvious and benefits all of us here in Brown County.
Thank you, and we have question number 9 coming up. We have one prepared, if there's none from the floor. There is.
Those that are sitting on the board and those that wish to be elected to the board, can you honestly say that you'd go on without having alliances of different partisan groups and focus on the issues and focus honestly on what's better for the community in Brown County?
And candidate, don't tell me, Zamaites. Okay, see, I have them written here in a dictionary spelling, but that isn't taught anymore, and I haven't taught for 20 years. And I'm looking at it carefully to read my own script. All right.
So regarding party affiliation, that's always a dirty topic when it comes to local politics, and I really do appreciate your question there. I firmly believe that your party alignment should not matter when running for something or for voting for something when it's a local election here. Regardless of what your stance on any national politics, those national issues don't fix the roads, those national issues don't plow the roads, those national issues don't deliver water, power, gas to your house. Those national issues don't pay for your policemen, those national issues don't pay for your firefighters. That is something that I think we as a society really need to kind of take a step back for. We're all neighbors here. We all care about one another. Just because somebody may view something slightly different from you perspective, doesn't matter what the topic is, doesn't mean that you disrespect them or you don't want what's best for them. Government is supposed to lift everybody up and allow us to all achieve whatever we want, and that's individual to us. The government is to even the playing field and allow us to achieve our American dream. And regardless of national identity, regardless of national attention, it doesn't matter. And we are just all human. That being said, it doesn't really, see, that's the hard part, because you can look at our campaign finances and you'll see that some of us got money from one side, some got money from the other side, and should I just say it cancels out since both candidates are on either side? Or, like, I think it depends on how you act after you're elected. I don't believe that whoever gives you money gives you that right to have to bend the knee to them. And so that's my honest opinion.
Thank you. And down there.
Yeah. So I'm running as independent. I didn't take money from either party. But I agree 100% with the comments that were just made, that the national politics doesn't have any impact at all on that. And I think you can relate to that. So, in my military service, I didn't know what political party anybody was that I served with. They didn't know what political party I was. Same thing at work. Same thing with a lot of the nonprofits that I work for. It's not a question you ask. You're just all, getting the job done and working together. So, why politics needs to rear its head, or partisan politics needs to rear its head, in a local election is just sort of, nonsensical to me.
Thank you.
I'm a student of history. I spent a lot of time, especially looking at the first local elections here, and especially at the turn of the 20th century. One of the things that was really, really striking is we didn't always used to vote for our candidates. who would vote for our delegate at the local level. It would be someone you knew personally that you thought would be best to represent your community at the state convention and then the national convention. That's how our presidential candidates were decided. That's kind of how I view it should be. Policy should come from the bottom up, not the other way down. There certainly are forces, you're right, there certainly are forces that want to have national politics lead the discussion here at the local level and kind of bankrupt our municipalities and our counties along the way. I take a lot of pride in being local. When I was at the newspaper, it was about who's in front of me, what's the story I have to tell, what is the best for this community, what do people care about. That's what I'm bringing to the table here. I've not signed up with anybody. I think I've spent maybe $1,200 on my campaign total, hoping it doesn't have to be more. So I'm allegiant to you guys, I answer to you guys, nobody else.
And any others? There's one.
Yep, so I'm the same way. I file as an independent. I accept no money from either side. But yet I still found myself on both parties' tickets per se. Found my name on both sides. To me, that's a compliment. It shows that both sides view that I'm able to get work done. I don't like knocking doors and them asking what my political affiliation is, and if I tell them, they slam the door in my face. Because at the end of the day, I still represent them, and their voice matters. If my neighbor needs shoveling out, I'm not gonna ask them who they voted for before I decide if I'm going to help them shovel. So that's part of it. But also, there's people that come to us and say, do you want to be endorsed by us? If you are endorsed, will you meet with us within the first 6 months? I've been in office for 4 years. Where have you been? Why haven't you reached out to me? I didn't even know your organization existed. So there are ways to be able to use our positions to learn about people, learn about organizations, but that doesn't mean loyalty to them. Even if they put our name on a piece of paper, half the time we didn't even know we were put on the paper. So just know that.
Okay, another one.
Bonsai.
I haven't accepted any donations, in kind, monetary, from either party, any party. And it's important to me to represent my neighbors. And if my neighbor has snow piled up at the end of their driveway, I have no problem, whether they're Republican or Democrat, going across the street and snow blowing the end of their driveway. National politics don't run our library. They don't run our museum or our court system. There really has to be a focus on something that binds us together. And this Northeast Wisconsin community, people's lived experiences will color their perspective as they walk around town, as they travel around the county. And to think otherwise is disingenuous, but I think that recognizing that there's more that we have similar versus how much we have different helps us govern for our neighbors and take care of our neighbors.
Thank you. Is it up? Yep. Okay.
I think it's really important that we find commonality in our differences. I am super independent, not even purple, it's probably like this, and that's just how that is. I've learned a lot from going to these committees and these meetings, because a lot of people that maybe in the past have been like, ugh, they're actually some of the most intelligent, thorough members that do their research and are the ones that I'd want to work with, honestly, and I'm pretty sure we don't always agree politically. So, yeah, no, I don't believe in identity politics. Kind of gives me the creeps. I think politics should be about policy.
Want to use it?
Yeah, I do.
Because anybody who had eggs left is going to have to take the room down and use.
Does it mean that I get to have more time because I'm just kidding.
You filibuster.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm very nervous about this coming election. I would love for you to go online and take a look at people that are running and seeing how much money they're getting from certain parties. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means that they're going to be having a certain agenda based upon what they're doing. It's scary. I sat on that board for 2 years, and like I said at the beginning of this, I've worked with people on the far left and the far right in national politics, and I don't think there's anything there. I had listening sessions with Vanya Kopke. I had listening sessions with Pat Buckley. I had listening sessions with Larry Barton, who's the treasurer of Oneida. I had a listening session with Jonathan. I don't mind whichever side you're on. I'm willing to talk to you. But what I am worried about is some of the people that are trying to get onto this board and what they may have as an agenda. So I would highly suggest that in the next week, you take a look at people, what they have going on and what money they're getting.
Thank you, and I believe we're out of eggs. It's very wonderful. And now it is time for you to wrap up with a 1 minute, however you want to use it. And
Wait out first. Whoa.
And yes, because you've always been last in
Correct.
every classroom you were.
Actually, that's incorrect. In high school, just a sidebar, in high school I had a friend whose last name was Zadowski, Z-Y-D.
Spoiled your day, didn't it? Okay. Take your minute.
So, I am truly running just because I want to make a difference. Come election day, April 8th, the day after, I will be happy win or lose. I will be happy because if I won, I won, and if I lost, I don't have to campaign anymore and it's over. I am truly just trying to make a difference and just listen to the community and see what they have that matters to them. Growing up, I always loved learning. I can tell you the first day I wanted to be a scientist, I was in 3rd grade learning the water cycle for the first time. Ever since then, I always like to learn, I love to solve problems, and that's the God's honest truth. I just love fixing problems, and if you elect me or give me the chance to, I don't care how small your problem is, I don't care where your problem is, I will try to fix it for you.
And next.
For one, I'm thankful for just the opportunity to be able to run and potentially be on the board of supervisors for this district here. That being said, my focus is thoroughly on infrastructure and preparing Brown County here for what we're seeing on the trends long term. We've seen this in all major cities, all major hubs. We are currently in the process of an expansion outwards in this county here right now, and we need to be prepared for what that means long term. You only need a reminder of what's going on though too, is if you go up to the UP and you see towns that were mining towns and that are empty now. This is happening in smaller towns throughout Wisconsin where they are trickling in currently right now, Brown County, and we do not have the infrastructure right now in place to be able to take all that in. So my intention here right now is to serve the community and serve for roads. We're already expanding out here on the South Loop part, South Assuring. I would like to be able to walk and chew bubblegum on affordability and also for the development of infrastructures for future generations to come.
Thank you.
Stand up for this one. So whenever I do my social media posts and I put videos online, there's 2 things that I try to include in every video. I don't always succeed, but I try to start with, hello everyone. I want to talk to everyone. These messages aren't just for certain people, they're for everybody, all of my neighbors, all of Brown County. And the other thing I try to end with is saying, love you. Because I want you to know that what I think is the most important rule is the golden rule, to treat others how you want to be treated and to love your neighbor. These are very important rules. They get forgotten. They just need these constant little reminders just to bring it to the forefront of your mind. And so I try to add it into all of my videos that these are the 2 most important things. Let's all be neighbors. Let's love each other. Let's make this the best damn place in Wisconsin to live. And that's how I feel. My name's Jacob. If you live in my district, please vote for me. If not, please just come talk to me. I'm happy to talk with any of you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Again, I started this with saying thank you. I will again. Thank you so much for being here. 3 things that I just want to point out. So one of the things that was just brought up is the partisan politics. There was 54 days last year that the national government was shut down because of partisan politics. You know how long it took us to get our budget done? 58 minutes. It's because we're willing to work together, because we talk, we work together. That's a $336 million budget that we were able to get done. I want to thank the snowplow drivers, the emergency support people that just the last 3 days ago, 1,600 lane miles were taken care of over 9.3 cubic yards, or 9.3 million cubic yards of snow was removed on our roads. Yes, are some of them still bumpy for sure, but with 26.1 inches of snow, that's going to happen. And then the last thing that I will talk about, and I hope you've understood it about me, is teamwork is key. I want to be able to work with everybody. That's why I point out, try to give somebody on this board every time I can some type of kudos, because it's not just about me, it's about everybody else.
Thank you. And next.
Thank you again. That was so sweet. No, I just forgot what I was gonna say. I spend every day, all day, talking to people one-on-one and listening to them, connecting with them, and helping them creatively figure out how they can live to their values and meet their personal goals. And I started getting a little antsy because I want to do something, and really, if you're in therapy, you're doing all the work, not your therapist. I wanted to do the work. I got getting involved, watching, observing, and I really want to work with you and the board. I think it would be a really fun opportunity, and I would be honored to represent any of you.
Next.
Thank you for coming out tonight. It's really important to be able to have a dialogue and connect with you as our neighbors and hear what's important to you and be able to answer some of your questions. I chose my day job working for the government. I could make a lot more in private practice, but it's important to me to be part of the solution, and I really try to own that title of public servant. My day job, I have to do coalition building. I have to work with people from all walks of life. I prosecute people who get OWIs after renting a private jet from Detroit to come in for a Packer game. I prosecute someone a 12-year-old who gets in a fight at school, and the homeless individual who was cited because he doesn't have access to a bathroom and pees in a bush. I have to work with everybody, and I enjoy being able to work with everybody. And I look forward to working with and for all of you.
All right, my question, is there anyone here from District 4? Okay, so then,
We got
one right there, okay, 2, but he's my husband. It still counts, it's a vote. But I want to challenge you. None of you besides Miss Laura and my husband Paul are from District 4, but you got to know me tonight. And so I challenge you now, you got to meet all of us tonight. Go back to your friends in those neighborhoods and let them know you got to meet us. If we haven't knocked on your door already, we might not have time. I had 1,200 doors to knock. So it takes time, and sometimes you're not home. And so feel free, reach out to your constituents, call them, ask them out for coffee, do those things. Also, everyone's been talking about high school stuff, so I'm going to throw in that I was the president of the social studies academic team for Green Bay East High School. Thank you. I also want to give our school board candidates that are here, Mary Lou and Laura McCoy, a shout out sitting in the back there. Please don't forget them. And as you go forward, thank you to the candidates for coming tonight. Thank you for N.E.W. Patriots. And then think of, when you're thinking of this, Brown County Board is an ecosystem. And so think about who will be the best candidate that will work with people, not come with their own agenda. And that's who you vote for. Who's the teammate in this, not just a coach. Thank you.
Well, now I gotta go with high school stuff. I was actually my class president. I ran out of spite, and now I have to deal with that for the rest of my life. No, I've been really inspired by everything that's gone on here, the conversation we've been able to have tonight. One of the things I kind of found similar to Megan, when I was working with the newspaper, it was such a gratifying feeling and spiritually fulfilling to be able to be that intersection for a community, to not only communicate what the local government's trying to do, what the community groups are trying to do, what the needs of the actual people are, the confusion. When someone's house burns down, I get to be there to tell the story, not only of them, but of the fire department as well. Not everyone likes that contrast. Right now I'm really seeking to be able to bring some service back to my community, to be that listener, to be that connector, to build bridges between people, between services, between communities. I want to help build local power. I want to help us stand on our own 2 feet, rebuild our identity, and take pride in who we are and in our community, not just now, but moving forward as well.
And Ryan?
Well, I'm not gonna tell a high school story because I don't remember high school. It's been too many years. But, just kidding. So I wanna thank everybody for being here, this evening. You're really showing interest in your community, and that's really, refreshing to see, and it's something that will continue to make Brown County, a great place to live and work. This election for me is about serving the people of Brown County. I've had a lifetime of service, military, business, community service, and across the board, I've been focused always on accountability, teamwork, and results, and my decisions are gonna be based on those same things as I move forward on the county board. Thank you.
Thank you, and a round of applause. We do have a few concluding remarks, if you could hang around just for a little bit, but Glenn, a question?
You can say no, but I'd like to have 30 seconds, if I may.
I won't say no, 29.
Show the card. You don't have a card for that. Anyway, I was very impressed with the comments of the folks here tonight in regard to using experts to define and solve problems. And there is one that's still hanging out there in Brown County. And I've been working on this with some other experts, or some experts, I don't claim I'm one, on wind turbine effects, negative health effects on wind turbines. We still have 2 people, at least that I know of, that still have abandoned homes in the Shirley Wind Farm area. 2 elderly ladies that couldn't afford to move that are still living in their basement for the last 15 years. These people never got any compensation from anybody. It was helping that the Health Services Committee, I think it is, declared it a human health hazard. But then at the end, the health director just couldn't bring herself to get enough evidence together. But we've got 15 years of data now that I can present. And I think to carry forward maybe some citizen advisory committees on different issues. And I'd be happy to be one on dealing with the wind turbine issue, because these people need help. One family's still paying for 2 mortgages for the last 15 years. One house they can't live in, and then the one they moved to. So,
thank you very much.
29 seconds.
And the teacher in me requires me to, a little civics lesson, nonpartisan, but dealing with tonight, there may have been times when you thought some of these folks were passing the buck, and maybe they were, I can't measure them. But when they say, well, that's a local village or city issue, it's not a county, or that's a state issue, that is sadly the way it is. Most citizens do not know that the lowest levels of government, the little village and the town and the city, is very much bound by what the county directs and the state and the federal level directs. And you might be tempted to say, you stupid fools, why did you decide that? Well, we thought that way because we didn't know all of the statutes and the laws and the provisions and things that they had to follow. And then you go up to the county level, and they are correct. Some of those things are none of their business. And some of them are dictates from the state that we're only at great risk, then they say no, or from the federal. And the state government officials are in the same position, especially with mandates from the federal level. So I'm not saying those are good things. There has to be some structure to these levels. But oftentimes, reasons votes go the way they do are because of mandates from those above. And then the second one is, and most of you I'm sure are aware that the February 7th election and the upcoming February election, it wasn't on the 7th, and the upcoming April 7th election are purposely called non-partisan primary in February and non-partisan spring election in April. called nonpartisan because it's not an issue of whether you are independent, Democrat, Republican, Green Party, or whatever it might be. And one may disagree with which issues are put in that election, but that is why these are called nonpartisan, and many of them touched on that in their comments tonight. The partisan stuff, that comes in the fall. Okay, now just a few other quick things. You may have noticed a candle here that was not simply to add some flavors to the room, but in 1854, there was a gathering in Ripon, which the gentleman here is very much familiar with. He probably also knows that as you approach Ripon, you do slow down to that speed limit sign. You do not go 1 mile an hour up above. But in Ripon, in 1854, a group of folks gathered in a little white schoolhouse, and not necessarily intentionally, but they founded a political party that still exists. It had basically a one-plank platform, anti-slavery, pro-freedom. And that event is celebrated every year. Tomorrow is the day, the celebration day. And I think there are things going on all day that you can engage in. Go online, look up Ripon and Flame Day or something like that, and you will learn more about it. I think it was in the centennial of that in 1954 that the president in the White House touched a telegraph thing which sent a spark and lit the candle, the flame in Ripon. So that'll give you something to do tomorrow. If you Then on your tables is a poster like this. When you leave, there should be none of these posters left. That tells about our next month's meeting, right here in this room on the 3rd Thursday. That's typically when we meet. And should be a most informative event, so we hope to see many of you. And then someone, a friend of our organization, brought in 100 or so of these about biblical citizenship. If you glance at them and say, hey, I can use those, I can take them to church and share them with friends, I can whatever. There's a whole pile of them back on one of the tables. Pick up as many as you need. And don't, as long as you're going to use them, don't worry that they might run out. We want all that stuff to run out. April 7th is the nonpartisan election, as you've heard again and again tonight. And 1/3 of church-going people did not vote in the recent partisan primary. That's a big number of non-voters. You know some of those people. Talk to them. Their civic responsibility and privilege. Get registered and vote. 300,000 Wisconsin hunters are not even registered. You know some hunters, I'll bet you do. Talk to them, help them get registered, and let them know how important elections are. Then our April 16th meeting, it's on the poster I just showed you. And on May 21st, 3rd Thursday of May, right here in this room, we will either have another election integrity speaker, one we haven't had before, we're working on that, or we're going to have 2 mini forums, candidate forums. We'll run one for about 45 minutes, and then we'll run the other one for about 45 minutes. And that would be for candidates for Secretary of State. And I would guess if I said, write down on a piece of paper all the candidates for Secretary of State, I don't think there'd be a lot of writing. This is a way you can find out. Or Lieutenant Governor. Who is running for Lieutenant Governor? Well, you can probably name one, and some could name 2, but we are inviting them to be on the front, and you folks are going to be asking the questions again. So it's either the election integrity or the 2 little candidate forums. So finally, again, thank you to you, all of you, for coming on this evening, demonstrating your interest in civic affairs. Without it, we are lost as a country as we have learned it to be. And again, especially thanks to these candidates because they're the ones that pick up oodles of literature. There are candidate literature and other things. There's also yard signs here and there. Currently, you can stick them in snow banks and they will sit well until about Sunday. And you gotta wait for the ground to thaw, but that'll work. And stick around a little bit for the conversations, but not too long, because you're supposed to be out of here soon. And have a great evening. Thank you.